We have some major breaking news as it has been announced that 2311 and Front Row Motorsports will race as open teams in 2025. What's going, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said in Sunday, we got some pretty massive and breaking news as it has been officially announced that 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports will race officially as open teams in 2025. Here's a statement from 2311 and Front Row. We are pleased to announce that NASCAR has removed the anti-competitive release requirement in its open agreement, which will allow 2311 and Front Row Motorsports to race as open teams in 2025. My clients will continue their appeal to the Fourth Circuit to issue an injunction so that they can run as charter teams, therefore avoiding irreparable harm. Both race teams are pleased that they will continue to be a participant in the sport that they love while fighting to make it fair and just for all. This is absolutely huge. If you've been paying attention to this, obviously 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, the only two teams that did not sign the charter agreement, they basically are currently suing NASCAR at this moment on antitrust claims. They have Jeffrey Kessler as the lawyer. Well, of course, NASCAR is Chris Yates, and they've also hired an appeals officer for NASCAR as well in most recent days. Now, they are hoping to have their injunction hearing, I believe their appeal hearing on December 12th through 13th. But if they don't have that, it could be a few months till that appeal ends up happening, where that could end up happening as early, like as late as March 18th or 19th. This means that as of now, that every driver that is set to drive for the organizations for 2025 will be driving for their set organizations next year. That means that Bubba Wallace will stay in the 23 car for 2311 next year. It also means that Tyler Reddick will be back in the 45. There have been some rumors and chatter that these guys would not be running with their teams for 2025. They will stick around. And then, of course, this also confirms that Todd Gillen and Noah Gragson are going to stick around driving in 2025 as well. My other big question is, does this mean that they're still going to expand to three-car operations in 2025? My guess is maybe, because we'll have to wait and see, but with how much money that it's going to cost to run an operation that doesn't have a charter, that might hurt their chances and opportunity to get something like that done, because it's been rumored that Zane Smith is going to go to Front Row Motorsports in 2025. There's been heavy rumors on that. And there's also rumors that Riley Herbst is going to go to 2311 and drive the third seat for 2025. So my question is, does this mean that they will end up at those organizations, or are they going to be looking for that different rides in 2025? My other question is going to be, will they run the Clash? Because only charter teams are required to run the Busch Light Clash. Maybe I could see them still running the Busch Light Clash. I have to think they are going to. The big thing is that we are also expecting the open teams to get a lot more money, according to what's been reported in some of the lawyered stuff and all of the claims and all of the lawsuit documents that have been released. We have currently seen that we are expecting the teams to be able to get a lot more money that are open. My other question is that are they just holding up those charters, the ones that they have, the 6 charters that they have currently at the moment? Because like I said, they're both expected to expand to 3-car operations next year. Or are there other stuff from the SHR sale not going to be available? We, of course, know that Trackhouse Racing got one of the Stewart-Haas Racing charters. They are going to be a 3-car team next year with Shane Van Gisbergen. Some have theorized maybe RFK Racing could have picked up one of the SHR charters, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We do know RFK will be expanding, of course, to a 3-car operation next year, most likely with Ryan Preece being the driver. The rumor is that they're getting that charter instead from Rick Ware Racing. In this case and situation, I'm glad to see that this lawsuit will continue, because had NASCAR not gotten rid of that anti-competitive part for even the open teams especially, that basically would have hurt the chance for this lawsuit to even continue. Because if they had to even sign the open agreement side of things, what this means is that they would be in a lot of trouble. Now, again, do I think that 2311 and Front Row still have a chance to win the case? Absolutely, without question. The goal of 2311 and Front Row Motorsports is to make the sport a lot better and a lot healthier for not just for teams, but for drivers as well, and change the landscape of the sport. It is no secret that the business model in NASCAR right now is not sustainable. The good news is for the teams that did sign the charter agreement is that they are going to be getting a lot more money. According to court documents and what's been reported by people like Jordan Bianchi and Jeff Gluck, they have reported that we are expecting to see 50% of the money from the purse go over to the teams, which is a major increase for the teams, which is a big positive. And a lot of these teams that did sign the charter agreement, they really got put into a bad position, had no choice and no option but to really sign that charter agreement for this upcoming year. Obviously, it will be interesting to see what happens with 20 through 11 and front row. I would have to think 20 through 11. I don't think anything changes for 2025 or even 2026 at this point. I think Michael Jordan, especially with how much money he has, you'd think at least for the long-term future that they'll be set to run pretty much every single race. For front row, I don't know how much money Bob Jenkins does have. I know he's got a lot less money than Michael Jordan, but I'd have to think that will hurt them just a little bit, and maybe front row will be in a little bit of jeopardy, though I do think that Michael will... my theory is that Michael will help try to fund front row a little bit. I know the rumors at one point the front row could have gone to Toyota, but maybe that's something that could end up happening going forward and down the road. For me, I'm glad to see that this situation has been resolved, though. At least they're probably going to run the Daytona 500. They did not confirm that. You're probably going to see in my silly season update as well. I'll talk about this 20 through 11 stuff about them not run the Daytona 500. I think that will probably change, so probably ignore that part. But for me, when I look at the situation, this is a little bit of a win for the teams. I think it's a big win for 20 through 11 and Front Row Motorsports because, like I said, I do think they'll have a good chance and opportunity to still win their appeal. Again, we don't know exactly when the appeal is going to happen, but the good news is that 20 through 11 and Front Row will be going to continue in 2025 in NASCAR because this tells me that they're stepping in the right direction for the organizations going forward, and that means that everyone on the organization will compete. Because I look at the drivers at these organizations next year. Tyler Reddick, I expect to be a major championship threat and contender, and I think he will win a couple races in 2025. I think about Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, who was really good in 2024, had, I think, 14 top 10 finishes and 7 top 5s. Now, obviously, a lot of people that are not big fans of Denny Hamlin are going to say they want them to fail. I would like to see 2311 and Front Row win the lawsuit because it's not just a benefit for them, but it's a benefit for everybody in the industry. Do I think they have a chance to win? 100%. But NASCAR a lot of times has won these lawsuits, right? They have won them a lot more consistently than the teams have won over the years. I think about some of the lawsuits. I think Kentucky was in a lawsuit with NASCAR many years ago for antitrust stuff, and NASCAR did win that lawsuit. Now, Jeffrey Kessler historically has been really good when it comes to lawsuits, among other things, and he's won a lot of these lawsuits in the past. So we're going to have more on this as time progresses and goes on, but this silly season, as off season, is not going to be slowing down anytime soon, and we're probably going to have more announcements coming this week. I'd have to think we're going to be hearing official announcements in the future on Riley Herbst and Zane Smith. That's my theory, is that we're probably going to hear announcements on that here in the future because they finally got this open thing approved, so they will compete as open teams, which means the Daytona 500 is going to be super, super interesting. Imagine Tyler Reddick, the regular season champion, missing the Daytona 500. Imagine Bubba Wallace, who was really good at super speedways, missing the Daytona 500. I think the Daytona 500 just got super, super interesting, and I think that's going to be fun to watch because they may not get it approved in time, but as of right now, they will compete as open teams in 2025. We'll see what ends up happening in regards to that in the future, but I'm glad to see this situation's been resolved just a little bit, and it's a little bit of a win for the teams going into the future. So, that is going to be today's special breaking news report on 20 through 11 and Front Row. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about 20 through 11 racing and Front Row basically going as an open teams at this point? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, we'll have a little small NASCAR silly season update. There's some stuff in there about 20 through 11 and the Daytona stuff. Ignore that when you do watch the video. And I also will have some other content dropping later this week. We will have the NASCAR Cup winner prediction video dropping tomorrow as well. And then on Monday, we'll have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. And then on Tuesday, we will likely be doing a video on the preview for Hendrick Motorsports. And we also, of course, will be having some other content dropping along with the RFK announcement, which is going to be coming on Tuesday, along with some other stuff on people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Connor Zillage, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, you name it. Got a lot of that stuff dropping throughout the whole entire off season. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.